Hello and welcome to the School Mental Podcast. My name is Miff Martinek and I will be your host. Now, this is episode 12 and today we are going to be talking about all things empathy. This is a podcast where we focus on everything to do with mentoring and coaching within the school setting. And when I sat down, I had a totally different episode planned for today. And I sat down to kind of flesh out my notes on it and decide exactly what I was going to say and how it was going to be useful and all that kind of stuff. And I was writing all these notes. And I was sitting in front of a page with scribbles all over it and everything is scored out. And there's one word on it with a box around it and it's empathy. And I realised that today I've been having a bit of a tough time personally. My husband's deployed at the moment and I have found this deployment much harder than I've found previous deployments. It might be to do with the age of the children. It might be to do with what's going on in my work. It might be just how I'm expecting things will go and feeling disappointed because I'm setting my expectations in a way that isn't actually accurate or helpful to me. It's probably a combination of lots and lots of things. But I've had an experience recently around empathy that has made me want to sit down and record this episode and talk about how important empathy is in our role in school, in our role with young people in general. I have completely undone all of my script and I've given myself one word to go on. So we're going to see how this goes. This episode is going to be about bringing our awareness and our attention to how we interact with people. I think sometimes it's really, really easy to switch our minds to suit the situation. So we switch on our kind of home setting when we get home and we interact with people in a particular way. We switch our minds into work mode and we interact with people in a particular way. And what happens when we do that is we lean on very specific sort of habits that we have and processes that we follow to help us get through the day in what feels like an efficient way, at least for our brains. And what often happens with that is that we lose the connection that we want to build with people. And we actually almost have to build that back in because our lives are incredibly busy. We have loads of distractions, be it digital, interrupting, just, let's face it, absolutely everything, or just the pressures of juggling work and home life and children and all of that stuff that kind of comes in together. So when we are juggling, we tend to feel overwhelmed. And when we feel overwhelmed, even slightly, we tend to lose the connection that we want to build with people and the connection that actually, when we look at what we want in life, it all boils down to having connections around us and our ability to be with the people that we care about and how we feel connected to ourselves as well. So it all boils down to connection. And one of the key parts of that is empathy. Now, I went to Google, obviously, because I wanted to start with a definition of empathy. And the definition that Google's come up with is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Now, I want to kind of disregard the understand bit for a moment and focus on the share. Because my feeling is that we don't always need to understand exactly what somebody is going through to be able to be there with them. We don't need to have had previous experience or some perfect advice that we can help them through a situation to still share the moment with them and to still show up and be there for them. So sharing the feelings of another is why empathy is such a powerful thing. It builds such a strong connection. I had an experience a couple of weeks ago for Mother's Day. Now, I found Mother's Day quite hard recently, and it's only because my husband's deployed, and my children are of that age where they're too little to kind of do anything themselves, but they know that Mother's Day is a thing, or certainly my eldest knows that Mother's Day is a thing. So they're talking about it in preschool, and she keeps telling me that it's Mother's Day. And I'm there going, yeah, what do you think it is? And she's like, it's like birthday. I'm like, okay, kind of. So we knew that we had this Mother's Day, and quite frankly, I was being super, super grumpy about it, because I was there thinking, well, it's going to be rubbish because I don't have Pete there to orchestrate this lovely Mother's Day for me with the children. And the combination of that expectation and, a lack of things to do for that Mother's Day weekend really got me into quite a negative mindset. Now, I'm so blessed because I've got some incredible friends who've got children sort of similar ages to mine, and they really, really rallied for me. So I actually spent the day, I had an incredible day. They, pancakes in the morning. We had an incredible roast in the afternoon. I saw a couple of different friends. The children all played. Husbands were there making some Mother's Day cards with them. It was wonderful. It was really, really special. But as I pause and reflect back on those days, I noticed two different sides of what I'm feeling. And there's a side that's appreciation. And I really appreciate the effort that they went to. And I appreciate and sort of feel very grateful for the fact that they invited me into their families and my children into their families to celebrate a day that would have otherwise been a bit, maybe a bit glum for me. They invited me into that and allowed me to kind of experience that with their families. And they cooked me amazing food, and I drank nice wine, and we did nice activities together. So there was that bit. But what I actually take away from that day and the conversations and the feeling that I had looking back at that day is that my friends showed me a humongous amount of empathy. I had conversations with them throughout the day where they allowed me to, even though I felt like I should be so grateful for being there, I was still a little bit sad. And I felt guilty then for feeling sad. But they allowed me to just feel my sadness and to just accept that it was a bit rubbish and that I was missing my husband. And they allowed that and that empathy that they had for me to just sit in the trenches with me and to feel a bit rubbish and say, that it does really suck. We are sorry that this is happening. That allowed me to actually get to my more positive feelings so much more quickly. Now, what I also recognise in this is it actually takes an awful lot of self-discipline to not dive in and try and fix someone's problems. The first instinctive thing that we want to do when we see that someone's upset or someone's struggling is we want to find a fix for them. We want to find a solution for them. And I could see my friend sort of battling with that internally, that choice of, do we just let her have her feelings? And, we are doing something. So, we are creating this nice day. So that's kind of enough. But it would have been so easy for them to say, oh, but, it'll be okay. He's home quite soon and it'll be better. You're doing really well. All of these kind of things. It would have been so easy to only say those things because that's what we automatically want to do. And we automatically try to do for people. But the interesting thing is that as soon as you start going down that path of you have all these other things that you could look forward to, there are all these other good things around you, then all that would do would compound the guilt that I was feeling for not, appreciating things and not being immensely jolly about the fact I was having this lovely day. So that actually would have delayed how quickly I would have come round and felt more joy in the situation. So it required this level of discipline to just pause and focus on showing me empathy. And that idea around discipline and empathy then got me reflecting on what I see in school. And I see so often in school that we are in such a rush to fix our young people's negative emotions and to fix their negative experiences that we forget to pause and just have empathy for them. Instead, we have sympathy. We just feel sorry for them. We feel bad for them. And so we want to fix it because we don't want to feel bad about it. And instead, the most time efficient, it's so ironic, the most efficient way of helping someone get past a negative experience is through pausing, showing them empathy, showing that connection, that they're understood, that how they're feeling is valid. You don't need to understand the ins and outs of why they feel that way or exactly their perspective, but you are there and you are sharing the feeling with them. And when you do that, the irony is that action moves you towards a solution and moves you towards them feeling better so much more quickly than you coming up with lots and lots of solutions. So the reflection and the lesson that I've learnt from this experience that I had is that actually by slowing down, we speed up. We speed up the process of finding a solution, of finding a better place to be by slowing down, having empathy for someone without trying to fix anything, so that we give them the space and the connection they need to feel secure and to feel safe so that they can take action. When I look at what we do in school, giving ourselves permission as teachers, as educators, to slow down, to disconnect from the constant busyness that we always describe in school. It's always so busy. But if we could slow down and model empathy and prioritize connection, we would create an environment where our young people would go on and solve their own problems because they would feel seen, they'd feel connected, and they'd feel safe. And when people feel connected and safe, they are in a position where they can go out and make a difference and do difficult things and make challenging things happen for them in a great way. So my challenge to you today is to slow down, is to see how many opportunities you have to slow down and just show empathy without any solutions being offered. Just connect. Just allow someone some space, whether it's in school, whether it's with one of your peers, whether it's at home. See what happens. It's scary, but it's so incredibly valuable. That is everything for this week. Have an amazing day, and I will chat to you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the School Mentor Podcast. We hope you're leaving today's episode feeling inspired to create a stronger, more connected school community. To access more resources, be sure to visit our website at this-is-me.uk. It would mean the world to us if you subscribed, rated and reviewed our podcast, and shared it with your fellow educators. Until next time, thank you for inspiring, mentoring, and changing the lives of the young people in your community.